The disruption of the Jimmy Wanjigi function in Migori was a wake-up call to Kenyans to know that peace is important, especially as we approach elections. Much earlier on, about a month or so ago, goons attempted to disrupt William Ruto's function as he was going for the function somewhere in Nyeri. 3 or so months earlier, Raila had been attacked by some crowds or goons, I think in Githurai or somewhere like that. Same happened to Ruto somewhere, I think in Gikomba, whatever it is. This is not good. I want us to have an election nearly as peaceful, if not more, than the election of 2013. Because, dear Kenyans, 2007, 2008 is not so far behind for us to forget. People who have had issues of peace disturbed 200 years ago, they still remember. They go out of their way to ensure things of those nature never happen again. On a higher scale, for example, the Germans will do anything in the world to avoid a repeat of what happened during the Hitler-Nazi period. We are not anywhere near there. But I'm saying peace is peace. I want Kenyans, as we push towards 2022, to know that peace is everything. I've said repeatedly, peace is number 1, peace is number 2, peace is number 3. And peace can compete with anything for number 4 and 5. But reservedly, number 1, 2, 3 is for peace. And therefore, when I see things doing the round in media, clips that intend to stir emotions, to paint leaders in negative light, and these leaders have their supporters, some of them giving primitive support, tribal support, we could be setting up ourselves for trouble. The media played a critical role in the sad events that happened in Rwanda. Local radio stations. When I see clips of Ruto supposedly saying certain things, often completely out of context. When I see the Ruto side coming up with clips about Raila or Uhuru, I get very worried. I get very, very worried. Dear Kenyans, we should never, ever allow ourselves, just because we need power, to push this country into a state that we will all regret. Good luck, Jonathan, former president of Nigeria, lost elections. He said many good things. Of course, he was even here saying some of those good things. For example, he said he thought his telephone, his cell phone, imeharibika, because nobody was calling him. He was now getting to know people used to call him because they wanted things from him. But that's not what I'm talking about. There's something else he said. He said it was quite possible he could have won the elections. But there were certain things he should have done to win those elections. He concluded by saying he could never have loved, I'm just paraphrasing him, he could never have loved the president enough, bad enough, for him to allow people to die so that he gets it. And I think that is what we need to do. Anybody who is aspiring to be a leader in this country must know they can only lead in a state of peace. Because even if you become president and there's no peace in the country, you think it's for nothing Uhuru sat down with Raila for peace? You can talk to Uhuru if you are doubting, if you are William Ruto, if you are a Raila, if you doubt, but Raila you know. That's why Uhuru talked to you. You can be president all but name. I'm asking all leaders at all levels. In this connection, I've been toying with an idea. This takes me back to November 2017, when I urged Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta to sit down. You can look for that video. And I said this: the future of this country was in their hands. The future of our children and grandchildren was in the hands of Raila and Uhuru in 2017, early 2018. And that's a fact. It disturbs me when I see people rubbishing the handshake, because they don't know what the handshake meant. This country could have gone to the dogs. Today, I'm drawing from the same. And I want to invite Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, to sit down with William Ruto. I'm not doing it in the manner of the church is suggesting, which is good. The church is okay. The church suggests Ruto and Uhuru should sit down and kind of work together. That's okay. But what I'm talking about is a bigger thing. I'm thinking these three gentlemen should by now be aware that whether there will be Kenya tomorrow or not is in their hands. That the decisions they make, the actions they take today, will be important in determining what kind of Kenya we shall have. In all respects. But I'm more interested in peace. You can imagine the kind of Kenya we'll have today as we move to 2022 if these three gentlemen decided to work together. So much of the negative energy today will be positive energy, and the country will move forward. You can imagine the kind of resources that are already going into this election, and yet we are not even there. You can imagine how much even the state is using just to keep the pulse of the nation. You can imagine how security and intelligence are working overtime just to ensure things are okay in this country. Can you now begin to imagine how these energies and resources can be useful elsewhere if these three gentlemen work together? I invite them to work together in two ways, in the interest of this country, in the interest of the children of this country. One, by agreeing on what kind of elections they will have, the minimums that we need, the engagement with IEBC and the citizens and the media and all players to ensure that Uhuru, Raila, Davadi, Kalonzo, everybody else who has an interest in this election participates in their own way, whether they are supporting people, whether they themselves are candidates. Of course, Uhuru will not be a candidate, but he has a right to support whoever he wants. It will be done in an environment that is free of all those things that make an election bad. So sitting with the IEBC, for example, will iron out a lot of things and remove suspicions so that you go into an election knowing this is going to be a free and fair election. In that manner, even the resources you spend, the negative energy will go down. The second way these three gentlemen can work, and I invite them. I know their supporters will not like me, but I invite these three gentlemen to work on a plan, of going in a direction where all of them are together. Yes, it is possible. It is possible that in the interest of this country, Ruto agrees to work with Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga agrees to work with Ruto. And Uhuru Kenyatta supports them and tries to bring other Kenyans on board, other politicians on board. That for this election of 2022, in the interest of this country, we can have negotiated democracy. We may have what has been called guided democracy. That these gentlemen can sit down. We can expand that to include Mudavadi, Kalonzo, and the rest. They can sit down and say, let's support Raila Odinga. Let's place William Ruto in this place. Let's put Mudavadi in this place. Let Kalonzo be in this place. Let Gideon Moi be there. That way, we can even have a frictionless referendum after the elections and create whatever structure of government we need. Because even in the state, when I hear people talking about expanded executive, some people don't seem to understand how the world works. In America, the Republicans and Democrats are always fighting about the size of government. One group says they don't want big government. The other says we want government, however big, so long as it serves the American people. Our unique situation calls for us to come up with a kind of government that can serve us. If that government is for the purpose of 2022 unitary, a kind of government that brings only for 2022 everybody together so that we chart a path into the future, and 2732 we can bring back the competitive democracy. That kind of approach to politics of 2022, in my view, I hope we do not want to learn that the hard way, that we wish we had done it. I'm sure, as I talk about supporting Raila because of the many factors that I need not go into, I'm sure Matiba, Kibaki and the rest, after failing to support Jaramogi in 1992, must have gotten to a point they realized it was a mistake. They should have supported him. So if you go in that direction, and then you set this country on a trajectory of democratization, of peaceful elections, of coexistence, and with a structure of government that can make you actualize that kind of thing, then it will be good for this country. That will be good for this country. I'm inviting Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, William Ruto to sit down and have a conversation around working together in whatever form, whether for the sake of peaceful election so that the competition is healthy, or at a much bigger scale with a big understanding, looking at the bigger picture to say, let us midwife, let us birth a new Kenya. Let us set this country on a path of development, recovery and development, by sorting out our politics, beginning with negotiated democracy, guided democracy, where we support one of our own, move into the election as one, work on the constitution to come up with a structure of government that embraces all these people, and move forward. That, Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, is my message to you, and I'm sure it is coming from many Kenyans.